Hey, everybody. Welcome to Movie Talk. I am your host, NCR. My special guest, Frauditor News Network, hasn't made it yet, but I am expecting her hopefully sometime soon. But before we get started, let me welcome everyone here on YouTube and on Rumble. Yes, this is the first time we're streaming Movie Talk live on Rumble. So let me start by welcoming Greg Janik, Parsons, 112, Nightwolf, Abby Paulin, and everyone on Rumble who is lurking, welcome as well. If you're not familiar with what Movie Talk is a live stream where you get to find out a little bit more about the creators that you like to see and our takes on some of our favorite movies. Also, I want to start off by letting out the rules be real simple. No homophobic slurs, no hate speech. My mods know the rules when it comes to the trolls. You get essentially one warning, and after that, you'll start getting timed out. After that timeout, you will be banned. I run a drama-free show here, unless we're talking about dramas. That's a different story, though. Uh, so when Frauditor News Network gets here, we will be talking about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and I want to get her thoughts on some of the remakes and reboots. I sent her an email. I know she is supposed to be coming. She has the link. I'm just waiting for her to show up, and then we can start the show. But until then, I will answer some questions you guys might have. If you guys want to ask me anything about movies and certain upcoming movies, I would be more than happy to talk about that with you guys until she shows up. And if she can't make it, I will reschedule with her. And, well, because I would love to have her on here. Parsons Rock and Roll Zombies. If you're also not familiar, Monday through Saturday, I stream on Rumble at 11:30, the Creature Feature Corner, where we play some really bad B movies. And one in particular was Hard Rock Zombies, a movie so bad, well, it's considered almost a classic of how bad it is. Now there is some upcoming movies I've been looking forward to, and well, there's some that I wish we could actually get to come out, but actually I'm excited for something that I can share with you guys. No, I haven't, Abby. If you would send me those, I would love to see them. Well, speaking of which, there is the Super Mario Brothers movie. I don't know how many have seen the original starring John Lee. Let me check my DMs real quick. Running off of multiple devices right now, so NCR tech skills not too good. uh, I could open the floor and let some of you guys come up if you want and ask me a question about movies. If you would like. because I don't want this show just to be. Revenge Cucumber. Is that what? Am I reading that right, Abby? Up, everybody. Let's welcome our special guest for today's show, the lovable, the cuddable, the queen of the happy dance. Frauditor News Network.
Hey, sorry I'm late. I forgot there's a time zone difference. I was thinking 4 o'clock my time.
Oh, it's all right.
So sorry.
It's all right. One of your adoring fans has been waiting for your arrival.
Hi, Stefan.
As always, I like to welcome my guests and get to know them a little bit before we start talking about the movies. So, would you prefer I called you Maggie or Frauditor News Network?
No, Maggie's fine.
Okay. So, Maggie, how did you get started on YouTube?
Well, I started seeing Frauditor videos. I don't even know how. It was just something that came up, and at first I was fascinated by it. I was like, this isn't real. What is this? This is a joke. And the more I watched them, the more I realized it was real. And then I saw Dr. Dave and Frauditor Troll, and I was like, oh, there are people that are against this, and started watching their videos. And I thought, you know what? This would be good if I did it too, because I was so stressed out by the Frauditor videos. It's like this is a good thing for me to do, so that I can get my stress out. And that's how my channel started.
Is there any particular video that stands out as a personal? That's my favorite one I've covered, or what you would consider your best work?
I think my best work was when I covered a new Frauditor, and I think he had one video at that time. And after I covered him, he took down his videos and stopped frauditing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I can
Paul
personally
Hansen was his name.
I can personally say I've never had that much of an impact on getting a frauditor taken down, but I would love to have that happen.
It wasn't only my doing. I think it was Highway Star. I don't remember who started trolling him in his comments, and I think that helped him remove his channel. And well, his channel's still there, but the video is gone, and he hasn't posted anything else. So I think that's what encouraged him to stop doing it. It wasn't just my video alone.
I have to say, 'cause I watch your videos and I love how you have it set up. You're laid back in the recliner. You've got the multiple TVs, of course, cupcake in the corner.
Yeah, it's kind of like at home. I have a recliner that looks just like that, and that's how I watch TV.
How did you come up with the term the frauditor zone? Because I noticed that's something a lot of us have, like our own little unique thing.
I don't remember that. Oh, I do. Okay. It was what was her name? Betty Buttcrack.
Yes.
I forgot her channel name, but I was watching a video of hers. I think it was on Unclean Hands' channel, and I was like, "This is like I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone." I was watching her. I was like, "This is really happening. Like this elderly woman is going to high schools and frauditing, teenagers." And I think that when I said to myself, it's like the Twilight Zone, then it hit me, the Frauditor Zone.
Nightwolf says he likes the cool down at the end of your show.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, those are fun for me.
Now, the cool down, it's where you play cute animal videos or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And how did you come up with Cupcake?
Well, when I first started doing videos, I did not Because I've seen enough Frauditor videos at that point, I knew that a lot of them, if not most of them, have lengthy criminal histories. They're arrogant, they're rude, they're violent. I did not want to use my own name in any way. I didn't even want to use my own voice. So
Mhm.
my husband and I have these little stuffed animals, Cupcake and Apple Strudel. And so I used her name, Cupcake, as my name. And I changed my voice to be more like, I used her image so that I was
Mhm.
afraid that if I was at the grocery store, some Florida would hear my voice and say, I know, that's Florida News Network, and like come over and attack me.
Well, I would just have to say if any frauder was to do that, I would immediately have to do this. Shenanigans.
Na 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 na
Shenanigans.
na 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 na.
I love
I
that.
know how much you love that, so I figured I would.
You have no idea. I mean, that goes through my head even during the day at work. That's always going through my head. Da, 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 shenanigans.
I, I mean, I have to thank Hank for doing that. He sent that to me, and I didn't know he did it at first. Uh, he sent it to me on Discord. I was like, "Oh my god, hey, I have to use this. Can I use it?" He's like, "Sure, that's why I sent it to you." But
It's great.
I would like to say this. I mean, your stuff and your take on it is just so refreshing,
Oh, thank you.
and you come at it with almost like a childlike innocence, and I think that's what really draws a lot more people into it because you're explaining it real simple, but you're so calm and refreshingly pleasant by doing it, even though we're watching these guys do some really grotesque and reprehensible things.
Because I don't like to lower myself down to their level, which is why I try not to curse. I might say like shit, whatever, but I try not to use actual curse words. And I try to keep it entertaining. So because I know people watch it, and I want people to watch it. I want to expose these idiots. So yeah, I try to keep it a little more mature than the frauditors and a little entertaining. I
Stefan.
I, I know that I don't like watching. Not that it's anything wrong with it, but when I watch other anti-frauditors and they're cursing and every other word's an insult, it can be funny, but I won't watch them on a regular basis just because I'm looking to get rid of the stress by watching an anti-frauditor video, and that just kind of adds on to it.
And I can agree with that. I mean, we all have our own takes, but the dropping down to that level is just it's not going to help.
Yeah.
And I have a message from Prince Jedi on Rumble he wanted me to tell you that he's sending you a huge fan hug, and he is a huge fan.
Aw. Aw. Thank you. That's so sweet.
Prince Jedi is a great friend of the channel and a great friend in real life. And I think this would be a good segue into our topic. You chose Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, because it's funny. I'm like you said that I kind of like a childlike aspect to my videos because I'm always a kid at heart. That's my all-time favorite video, and I still watch it all the time.
Now, what draws you to that movie? Like, what particular? Is there anything particular that
The
you enjoyed
chocolate
about the
room.
most? The
The
river of
chocolate
chocolate.
room. Oh my gosh, when they go into that room, that's the first thing I remember. That's the biggest thing I remember about that movie is when they go into the chocolate room and it's just this huge room of chocolate and candy. And I saw it as a kid and I just remember going, "Whoa." Like mouth was probably hanging down to the floor.
This is a great question from NCTPIL. Remake or original?
The original Willy Wonka, always my favorite. It's the first one I saw, and it's the one that had me, jaw dropping to the floor. The one with Johnny Depp, I didn't like because I thought it was dark and disturbing. It wasn't fun. It wasn't like funny and quirky like Willy Wonka. And the new one, just Wonka, I saw that recently, and that was pretty good. But Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory will always be my number one.
And I would have to say there's the debate. and I think we should get this one out of the way. The debate between a lot of people is Uncle Joe a freeloader?
Yes. it's
I
it's
would
such an odd story. They're all there's four of them in a bed and they can't move. I mean, they can't walk. So the smell must just be like all I have is bedpans underneath the bed. I mean, it's insane when you think about it in reality.
I would have to go with, because I've watched the movie, and I would have to say I'm kind of leaning towards Team Freeloader.
Yeah, I
I'm,
mean, obviously he can walk because as soon as the golden ticket comes along, he's dancing around the room. It's not a miracle, but it's a movie. They're not meant to be realistic, or else why would you watch them? Yes, I did see Wonka. It was really good. I liked the music to it. It was. It's funny. I'm going to say this. It was more unbelievable than the original, but it was really good.
uh, I haven't seen Wonka yet, and it's on my list to see. But I've been looking at it and seeing the reviews, and I'm trying to avoid spoilers from it. But it looks like it's more of the lore of Willy Wonka that we really wanted to see.
Yeah, it's Willy Wonka before he had the chocolate factory, so it's a prequel.
Hmm. And you brought something up about the Tim Burton remake uh, of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You said it was much more dark and disturbing. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if you've read any more of Roald Dahl's other books.
I never even actually read his Ron Dahl's book, Chocolate Factory. I never read the book.
Because I
I don't
know
want to.
his
I don't want to ruin the movie for me. I don't want to read the book. I know it's very different.
I know because a lot of his stuff is very dark. I mean, he kind of had almost a dark mindset. And before I continue on that note, from Rumble from Prince Jedi, Uncle Joe was the original frauditor.
That's cute.
But I get what you're saying because I love the original as a kid. I thought it was like, oh, I have my own candy factory would be awesome. But
And the big candy
watching,
bars and the colors and
you could even eat the dishes.
I know, and it's like even now when I see it coming on cable, I just like stop. We're watching this. I have to watch it again and again and again. I can't stop watching it because it's like the magic just never goes away. It's like the first time I see it. This the 18th time I see it is like the first time I see it.
I think we all have that with certain movies where it just draws us, regardless how many times we can watch it.
Hmm.
But with that remake, I know Tim Burton likes to go with the outlandish colors, and it it does get dark. But I did kind of like some of the darker aspects, but I didn't care too much for the music in there. It didn't have that same heart that the originals did.
Yeah, and Johnny Depp seemed more like mentally challenged than Willy Wonka did. Willy Wonka was just, Gene Wilder was just quirky, but he didn't like, his mental aspect on things was different. But Johnny Depp was just like, oh, he should be in a mental institution. There's something wrong with him, and almost like on a creepy level.
And I tend to agree with you on that. And I kind of think it was the way they portrayed Depp's father in there with Christopher Lee, which I'm a huge fan of Christopher Lee's work. I mean, I love him in everything he does, but he really kind of established that, you know, more lack of a childhood for Depp's Wonka. And Gene Wilder's, it just seemed like he could be professional, but yet he could be lighthearted. You didn't know where he was going to go when you would watch him.
Yeah, like in the very beginning when he comes out and he's walking in a cane. And I remember as a kid looking at this going, this is weird. But then when he does the somersault, it's like, okay, anything is possible. And it's in a fun way, like the wallpaper that you can lick. But Johnny Depp is just scary. Like, if I watched him as a kid, I would be terrified.
I agree with you. I don't think that was his best work. I think, and again, the outfits were just way too out there. It didn't have that heart that Wonka and the original Willy Wonka does.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, with Gene Wilder, he was like, you could feel that he was, he could associate with the kids, whereas Johnny Depp was just like, I don't know, there was some kind of wall between them, and he just like hated them. I don't know, it's just so spooky. I watched it once and I never watched it again.
I would have to say, I really didn't care for the ending of that, where we actually got to see the kids' aftermath. I like the not knowing like how we had in the original.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, it
Like,
was kind of interesting the way they did it. I don't mind so much the way they did it. I don't think for me, it didn't take away from anything from the movie. But again, it was unrealistic. Like, one of the kids is like 7 feet tall now. He's stretched out.
yeah.
It's spooky. It's like, oh my God, that's scary. Like, that's a horror movie type thing.
Oh, the tunnel
I
scene.
agree, Abby. The tunnel scene scared the crap out of me.
That scared all of us, but
oh my gosh, yeah, that's one thing that even now, like, I'll hide my face, I'll close my eyes, like when the chicken gets his head cut off. No, I'm like, this is not Willy Wonka the Chocolate Factory. That's more of a Johnny Depp version.
And that Johnny Depp version, I mean, like you said, I mean, when we got Mike TV in the original, it's like, take him to the taffy room and stretch him. Like, what was going to go? You didn't know what was going to happen. But then when we see it in the Burton version, it was just like, okay, now that just totally takes all semblance of like wonder of like, how's this kid going to start walking?
I mean, yeah, see, I mean,
in
that sense, you're right. Like in the Willy Wonka, he said, well, all kids will be turned to their original horrible selves. So you assume they just walk out the way they came in. But in the Johnny Depp version, you see they're changed. They're like permanently changed. Yeah, it is weird.
And I definitely did not care for the sexual overtones from Violet's mom and Johnny Depp's Wonka.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we get it. She wants to get the money. I get it, but tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, I told you I watched it once and then I never watched it again. I did not like it. And again, I know that it's more in line with the book, which is why I'll never read the book. I like the Oompa Loompas having, being orange with green hair. That's the way I remember Oompa Loompas. That's the way they'll always be to me. Hey, Hezekiah's here.
And I want to ask you, have you ever seen any other Roald Dahl movie adaptations?
I don't think so.
Have you
Name
ever
a few.
seen The Witches?
What was that?
The Witches.
No.
Oh, that movie scared me as a kid. Essentially, a young boy in his
Hi, Ray.
all the people show
Ray's
up.
here.
Hey, Ray. A young boy and his grandma go to a hotel for a vacation, and he stumbles upon a witch coven having like a meeting, almost like a convention, for the lack of a better word. And they announced that they have this new plan to turn children into mice.
Oh gosh.
But the thing is, when you see them, they don't look like witches. They look like regular people. But when they're behind the closed doors in this conference room, this banquet hall, they take off their hair and they pull off these like skin-like masks, and they look like what a witch would look like to a kid when they would describe it. The long nose, the moles. Uh, Ray Ray for being a member for 8 months. Always enjoy your channel, NCR. Thank you, Ray Ray. I always enjoy having you around. You are just so delightful and such a good.
She's awesome. Hey, Debbie Kruger's here too. Wow.
Hey, Debbie Kruger. I did invite Debbie Kruger to come on, and I think he wanted to check it out and see what it's like. And this is what I want. I want us to get to know each other more as not as content creators, but as our fans get, our viewers, just to see what kind of stuff we like and what we have in common.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
And one of the scariest parts in that movie is like you see them without the makeup, and they're trying to turn children into mice, but they don't explain why they're trying to turn them into mice. But they did a remake with Anne Hathaway. I think it was last year, and it was really, really even creepier.
Wow. Now I'm going to have to watch it because now I'm curious.
Greg Jellick is a member for 7 months. Enjoy your channel and videos. Thank you, sir. I enjoy having you as a member of the channel, as a member of the news team, actually. I forgot to say that. You guys are value members of the NCR News Network's news team. And I can't do it without you guys. Now, is there any other movies that you like that are kind of in that same wheelhouse of like kind of childlike, but could be, similar to Wonka and Willy Wonka?
Well, then there's the other Tim Burton movie. I forgot the name of it. What the heck? It was with Jack Skellington.
A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas. I love that movie. I saw that in the theaters, and I was like mesmerized too. Oh, that was kind of dark and creepy, but that was fun too. I like that one.
I enjoyed that, and I do enjoy a lot of Tim Burton's movies. But that one was always a favorite of mine. I love the music.
Yeah, me too. Definitely.
And
matter of fact, whenever I'm on the Snafu show, there's this person that comes into the chat, Sally Skeleton, and it just makes me smile every time.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I have actually never seen that. I know I should have. As much as a movie nut as I am, I should have seen it, but I haven't. Welcome, Lisa. Like for me, I love that movie just because of the music alone. And
it's a love story too, and it's so sweet. Edward Scissorhands is a good movie too. It's a little creepy, but yeah, that's another good one.
I have a fun fact about Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, good.
I actually used to live in the town where they shot it.
Wow, nice.
And there is, in that town, a big shopping center called Southgate. And it is still there to this day in the exact same style of how it was set in the movie. Like the 50s, big arch, and everything in that plaza is still the same on the outside.
Wow, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I actually liked that. That was a really good movie to me.
I couldn't stand Pee-wee. Anything Pee-wee, I couldn't stand him.
Oh,
I know you are, but what am I? I just can't deal with him. I feel bad because he's deceased now, but
Paul Rubens was a phenomenal actor, and the thing is, he took the Pee Wee Herman character from something he was doing. He was doing like improv, and
Was
he
he?
these little he was doing these shows with the whole cast, and essentially turned the kids show after the whole thing with him getting caught in the movie theater.
I remember him for the. That's when I first knew really of him, when the whole movie theater fiasco broke out.
We gotta keep it PC here because
Yeah.
our corporate overlords like that. But he turned it into an adult show on stage. So there's a lot more of the adult humor, but done in the Pee Wee style. And it was still funny.
Yeah, and I don't know. I never thought Pee Wee was funny. I thought he was very irritating and annoying, kind of like my little brother when he wouldn't leave me alone. It was like, get away from me, get away.
But it's amazing he brought that up. Has brought that up because Paul Rubin actually played the same character twice in two different incarnations of Batman.
Yeah, I'm not saying he wasn't talented and he couldn't act. I just didn't like him or his movies.
Now, I have to know, is, with, The Nightmare Before Christmas, like you said, the music really got to you. It was really good. It's what drew you to it. Is there anything else about that movie that caught you? Like, is there some visual, or is there something about the story?
Oh my gosh, all the visuals. I actually had dolls of the mayor, and that the head could move from like happy to sad. And whenever I was happy, the mayor's head on that doll would be in the happy, the happy face would be forward. And whenever I was feeling bad or sad, I turned it around to the sad face. It was, the characters were so awesome in that movie. And it really just, I was really able to relate to them, especially the mayor. I thought the mayor was great.
I enjoyed the mayor as well. I loved how he would go from just being calm and happy to come on, Jack.
Yeah, his head would just spin, and I loved it. It was just, I thought it was so awesome. And the little kids, I forgot to see. I haven't watched it in a while now.
Lock,
I had
Shock,
figured,
and Barrel.
yes,
The
and they were just like, they were just bad kids, but they were deep down inside there was something maybe good about them. You couldn't tell, like maybe not, but they were so funny, and I had little figurines of them.
I loved Lock, Shock, and Barrel. I mean, their little song
And the song they sang.
Capturing Santa Claus.
Yeah.
In a box.
The whole movie was just so awesome. And then like when Jack Skellington went into Christmas Land and all the lights and the snow, even I was like, whoa, this is beautiful.
For me, it's little things in movies and TV show.
Is that true? Has Paul Rubens played Shock?
Yes.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. That's very interesting.
One of my favorite things from that is like it's a little thing too. It's when they came back to see Jack after they thought they had captured Santa Claus, but it was the Easter Bunny.
Easter Bunny.
And it was that, and he gets out and he's hopping around, and he runs into across the guy with the axe in his head. And he's just like, Bunny. That right there is that little thing of like, you would think, how would that big lumbering guy with an axe in his head sound? And he would sound just like that.
Yeah, I mean, that movie was just so perfect. The music to it, the visuals, everything, the characters, like they were bad characters, but in a good way. And everyone really they were just, it was a Halloween town, and they're meant to scare little kids, and that's what they did. But they weren't really bad, characters. I love that movie. I've seen that many times too.
Oh, I know. And one of my personal favorites is that line from the main song, "This Is Halloween," where they say it.
This is Halloween. This is yeah.
They say that perfectly line. We are scary, but we're not that. But we're not mean.
Yeah. See, And see, I'm forgetting name. I got to watch this movie again. The dog's name with the red
Hero.
nose. Hero. I have to watch that movie again. I'm forgetting all
Now,
the names. I
now
love the dog.
there's a fan theory about Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas and Johnny Depp's character from The Corpse Bride being the same person, and that Zero was his dog.
Oh wow,
Uh, since we're
the
on,
ghost dog.
yeah, since we're on this Tim Burton kick, have you ever seen Frankenweenie?
No, I haven't seen that.
Or what about Paranorman?
No.
Oh, you would love Paranorman. It's got a phenomenal cast. It's got really good music, but it's got a lot of like little subtle jokes that us adults would enjoy. Like there's this great scene of Norman, because Paranorman is about a boy who can see ghosts, and he's kind of that weird kid, which I think I kind of was that weird kid, so I understand it. but he's sitting in his room. His phone goes off, and it's the theme from Halloween. But before his phone rings, he's looking out the window, and it's his little buddy, but he doesn't know it, wearing a hockey mask. He's like, "Hey, you want to come check out my new hockey mask?"
All these movies I haven't seen. I have to put that on my list of movies that I should see one day before I die.
Beetlejuice.
Oh, I love Beetlejuice. Okay, Beetlejuice is one of my favorites. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
All right. If he shows up, you're dealing with him.
I know I was going to stop myself at two, and I'm like, no, don't be a coward. Just keep going. Now I'm looking around my room going, uh-oh. Just like I can't say Candyman 3 times. That I won't do.
Well, that one you got to do looking into a mirror.
Yeah, I won't do that at all. That movie terrified me. But Beetlejuice, I love that movie. I've seen that many times too.
I love Beetlejuice. It was just so out there, and Michael Keaton stole the show.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he was the perfect person for that. There was no one that could have done that character better.
And of course,
it's showtime.
And of course, Winona Ryder as Lydia Dietz. I kind of for obvious reasons had a crush on her. But I love that scene of them in the graveyard digging him up.
And then, and the little make believe, the little town that he created.
Mm-hmm.
And he's digging up the fake grass into the cardboard. Yeah. Breakfast Club was another great movie too.
Oh, so many great movies from the 80s. And I say this, and I know I'm going to catch some flack for it, but the 80s had some of the best movies of all time.
Here's a movie that's totally different from all these other movies, but I would say it's one of my favorites. The Color Purple. I've seen it maybe 6-7 times, and it's the only movie that has ever made me cry. And it has made me cry each and every time I've seen it. It's like magical.
And I think that's a beauty about movies. We can immerse ourselves in there, and yet there's always something that tugs at the heartstrings or makes us sympathize with a character. And I think that's a great thing. We can get that escape from reality, but yet still find something that draws us to that certain character from a movie.
And it has a happy ending. And I love movies that, like, when it starts out, you're like, oh, wow, I can't imagine this ever getting, better. But then at the end, it's like, oh, this is awesome. Happy ending.
See, Jedi's got the dream job. Prince Jedi Master has the dream job. He gets to work at a movie theater, so he gets to see all the cool movies.
I don't know if I'd want to do that though, because I'd probably get bored of them, seeing too many of them.
Well, for me
Gremlins was a good
personally,
movie. I haven't seen RoboCop. Don't like Rambo. Pretty in Pink. Ferris Bueller, another great movie. Don't like Empire Strikes Back. I don't even think I've seen it. Back to the Future, I didn't really like.
how could you not? How, we. I'm going to start playing some better movies on my channel. But you brought up you like the happy endings,
Yeah.
and is that because is that really is it because you just enjoy the happiness of the ending, or is it because that playfulness that you are? Because when you talk to you, Maggie, or you watch your videos, you just come off as very playful and sweet and innocent, and I'm wondering if that's more of just beyond your personality, but just like a natural trait that draws you to those kind of movies.
I mean, if I want to go see a movie, spend my time, I don't want to be crying at the end. Like crying with Color Purple was good. It still had a happy ending, but I don't want like everyone dies and the whole town is gone. Like I don't want to take that negativity away from after the movie. I want it to be happy and I can think about it afterwards. I'm like a little kid. Like I just want to be happy and I want everything to be perfect at the end.
Now, what about The Wizard of Oz? Have you seen the Wizard of Oz or any of the remakes or sequels?
I saw the original a few times, and that had a happy ending.
And now you brought up
Plus, I was obsessed with her shoes. I'm a glitter fiend. I love all things glitter. So her red glitter shoes was like, whoa. I love them.
now they strayed from the book with that, because in the book it's silver, not ruby.
Really? Oh, Ruby's so much prettier.
Well, here's something else that I wish I could see more of. I'm a fan of the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game. Uh, they actually combined two franchises from our real world to make these cards. They took the Star Wars motif and the Wizard of Oz motif and made a whole series of cards based off of them. And they were ridiculously silly because one of them was just they called it the Cowardly Lion, and it was supposed to be like a mixture of Chewbacca and the Cowardly Lion wearing Han Solo jacket. I mean, like, come on now. But
Right, because it was one of the first color movies. Really? See, he knows all these movie facts. I have no clue. I watched the movie. I'm like, it's great. It was wonderful. I love it. And then an hour later, I'm on to something else. I never think about it again.
we have a question from Nightwolf. How about batteries not included?
I love that movie. That
I
was an
haven't
awesome
seen
movie.
it. I haven't seen it.
I forgot. I remember. I forgot what it's about. It's not okay. It wasn't the one where the old people became young again.
Cocoon.
Yeah, that was Cocoon. That was a great movie. I'm trying to think what Batteries Not Included was. I know I saw it.
I,
I just don't remember it.
I remember it was like a little like a robot flying saucer. I remember that. I do remember
It's
that.
kind of like one of those things where this flying saucer is more human than humans or something. Kind of like Wall-E. I love that movie. Wall-E. They become more human than the humans. It's kind of like that, I think.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was just thinking about Short Circuit with Johnny Five.
Love that movie. That was a
I,
great movie.
I did not like the first one, but I love the sequel.
I never saw the second. I don't even remember if I even knew there was a second one.
No, the first one was where Johnny Five was on the farm And there's that scene of him trying to imitate the cricket, jumping around. The sequel takes place in New York, and one of the craziest things is Johnny Five goes full Rambo in that movie. And I just love it because he's in a Radio Shack, and he's just like, he's got the welder and he's welding on a mohawk, and he's putting like a chain in his ear, like an earring.
That was a great line. Number 5 is alive.
Johnny Five alive.
Yeah.
Oh, but I mean, I think as a kid when I would watch that, it was just so weird for me because I like, how did they do that? Is that a real robot? Is he real? And I think even as a kid watching some of these movies, I wondered, like even with Willy Wonka, like, how did they get a river of chocolate? Where do
I often wonder that. How do I get a river of chocolate? Not how I want one. And then it was ruined for me later on when I found out that it was actually just stinky water.
What about Goonies? We're being asked about Goonies.
I only saw bits and pieces of it.
Oh, you have to watch it.
I don't remember why I didn't see more of it.
I love the Goonies. You know, that it was one of those movies as a kid you could always imagine putting your friends into it. Like you and your friends were in that movie. You know, there's Data, the little inventor kid who comes up with these crazy inventions. And of course, you know, Corey Feldman's character playing the wisecracking smartass. You know, hotshot badass kid. You know, that scene of him in the this Mandy gonna make me blush. She is such a sweet person. It's so nice.
She
always
is.
does this. I'm a big fan of her channels. She's one of my biggest fans, biggest supporters, and one of my best friends.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she is just so sweet and has an awesome show. And like us, has that sweet, wonderful, childlike. Oh, she loves both of us. Thank you, Miss Mandy.
I love you too, Miss Mandy.
But there's this great scene of them in the bad guy's restaurant. Corey Feldman's trying to order food, and he's doing that. Oh, let's get a nice mozzarella. I'm just like, come on now. What other?
Uh-oh. Are you there? Oh, no. Gunnerman. Are you back? Say something.
I'm here.
Okay, we're back.
I didn't know I got disconnected. But is there any other movies that you're like just draws you to them?
Well, you know, it's funny. Animated movies are always my favorite. Something about, like, the Minions. I always use the Minion clip, and I love using the Minion clip of them laughing, although I haven't seen the movie yet. But I love animated movies because they take something not real and make it look real and make it look fun. And it takes you out of your real world for a little while and puts you in a completely separate area. But my husband hates... Uh-oh, he's gone. Pizza. Gunnerman. Deja vu from yesterday. Hey, Hezekiah, you still there? We lose you too.
I don't know what happened. I just got kicked off. I'm willing to rebuild. There's a quarter.
It's hard to hear you. Uh-oh. You're very, very low.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Now you sound good.
Okay. I don't know what happened. I'm willing to bet there's a random Florida man or possibly he who shall not be named trying to take me down. Dang you, frauditors. But animated movies. I'm drawn to those too. And one of my personal favorites is like Big Hero 6. Have you seen Big Hero 6?
It doesn't even sound familiar.
It's based off a comic book, and it's really, really good. You would love it. It's all about a young boy named Hero who becomes a superhero, and with the help of his late brother's last project, Big Max, who was designed to be like the new version of healthcare. But he's got this sweet, like, innocence. Like, there's this great scene where, he's low on power and he sees a cat and he goes, "Furry baby," and starts petting the cat. But what's some animated movies that you like? Like,
I can't, it's so bad. I can't remember the names. I remember, I don't think maybe it was Wally. Was it Wally where people were kind of like stuck to chairs and all their needs were taken care of in their chairs and they didn't get up and walk. They moved around in their chairs. Was that Wally?
mm-hmm.
Okay.
That was Wally.
I remember thinking, wow, that's pretty cool. I'm lazy. I would love to do that. Just sit in my chair and watch movies all day and have a chocolate shake or something.
Can I get a chocolate shake? Huh.
Yeah, it's like just punch a button and some French fries come. Like, nice.
What about anime? Are you drawn to anime by any chance?
No. Never got into that.
I'm a big anime nut, and I would have to tell you that there are a lot out there that you would probably like because they're just so you got that same personality and that same innocence that you have, and that, like, there's all kinds. There's romance. There's what they call slice of life, but some of the funnier ones for me are usually like the sweeter ones. Like we got it. Broomsticks, Bedknobs, Broomsticks, and Mary Poppins. I have never seen that movie. I don't know what that's about. I know I've seen Mary Poppins.
It sounds familiar. I know I've never seen it.
I mean, I know Mary Poppins actually, was groundbreaking for some of the effects works they did with combining animation with live action, because it's never really been done before. Now, what about Peter Pan? Have you seen any of the Peter Pan films?
I think I saw one as a kid. Nothing as an adult never really appealed to me. I'm not sure why. I'm very weird. I don't know. It's like certain movies stand out. I guess if it's colorful, like I'm a little kid, if it's colorful or if it's like a super happy ending, if it's a musical, things like that, those kind of things draw me in. Like when I saw Wonka in the theater recently, the reason I loved it was for the music and the dancing. I was like, this is great.
I haven't seen Wonka, like I said, but I've seen quite a few of the Peter Pan movies, and I think, because I've seen the original, but I think personally Hook was my favorite, starring Robin Williams.
You see, one of my movies that I'm thinking about right now is Mamma Mia. It was the dancing and the music and I think it's a love story aspect too. It's like a love long gone, but now it's back, happy ending type thing. That kind of
Mhm.
that always makes me react.
I think for me, because I really can't get into musicals that much, and it's weird because you would think I would, because I played the bass. I'm really into all kinds of different types of music, so you would think a musical would be right up that alley for me. But there's only one I like, and I could watch all the time. But since we're on the topic of happy movies, what about The Princess Bride? Because that's a guilty pleasure of mine.
Have not seen it.
Oh, Miss
A lot
Mandy,
of
thank you
movies
for
I haven't
becoming a
seen just because no one ever wanted to see it and I never got around to seeing it. I don't go to movies by myself, so many movies I've never seen just because no one else ever around me wanted to see it.
Miss Mandy, thank you for becoming a member of the news team. She is now a intern for the NCR News Network. Thank you so much for becoming a member. And I have to say, The Princess Bride is something that you would adore. I think you would love it.
I have to watch that. There's so many movies I need to watch. Like, every once in a while, this my husband picks a movie on cable and he's like, "Want to watch it?" And I'm like, Whatever." And then I start watching it. I'm like, "Oh, it's really good."
Mm. Well, there's this great little thing in that movie, because it's actually based on a book, and it's all about this farm boy who falls in love with the farmer's daughter, whose name is Buttercup, and the farm boy's name is Wesley. And whenever she would ask him to do something, he would reply with "as you wish." But she later learned on that was his way of saying "I love you." And it was a true love story. And it ties into our community really well. Is there's a scene where Princess Buttercup is to be married off to this real jerk of a prince, and the bishop or cardinal or whatever he was to perform the wedding does a little speech about, "We're gathered here today because of love." Well, I don't know if you've seen the stream, but the YouTube marriage of Witch of Heart and Mark the Sarcastic Law Student, Blue Bacon did that whole speech as the
Oh, I didn't
bishop,
see that.
and it was amazing. We were laughing and falling out of our chairs, which is dangerous for me because I'm known for breaking them. Mandy was there. I was technically officiant, but kind of fumbled up the words a little bit. but it's a really good love story, and I think you would like it, not because of the love story aspect, because of just the camaraderie between Manny's character, not Manny, but Inigo Montoya's character, and Fezzik, who was played by Andre the Giant. You know, Andre's this big, massive, giant guy, but you see Inigo talking to him and saying, "Hey, there's more to you. You're a poet. You know how to do all these rhymes." And there's that classic. It's just a classic movie. You have to watch it the next time you get a chance, because I know you would absolutely fall in love with it as much as I have.
I'll have to make a note of it. There's so many movies that people are like, "I loved it. It was so great. You'll have to see it." And I've never seen them. I feel like I'm so far behind in movie watching.
I know what you mean. I feel that way at times too. And one of the best things I like to do is when I'm sick is I binge watch movies because if I can't do anything, I want to do something fun and make myself feel a little bit better. I don't
I like
know.
binge watching TV, like shows, fun shows, like The Big Bang Theory, stuff like that.
I like a Big Bang Theory. I loved it. I thought it was actually a real representation of nerd culture.
But it's funny, for the longest time, I hated the show. I saw 3 minutes of it and I was like, no. And then my husband was like, oh, but it's such a great show. You have to watch it. I'm like, no, it's stupid. It looks retarded. And then he forced me to watch an episode, and I loved it more than he did. And I've seen every episode now. Malcolm in the Middle, I loved. We binge watched that.
I love that they did a cameo of that in Breaking Bad.
I didn't see the whole movie. Or the whole series. Someone had recommended it to me and said, oh, it's so funny. So we sat down to watch it, but it's not meant to be funny. I don't know what he thought it was funny about it. And my husband got upset. Like, this is not funny. We're never watching it again. And I never got around to finish watching it on my own.
Now, I have to say this. It's a little side note. I asked this question to Dan from Welsh News Network the other day. I don't think he saw it, though. But when I had him on, we talked science fiction. And I'm more of a horror movie guy, but I love a lot of the classic stuff. And since he's a sci-fi expert, I want to get his opinion on this. And I would love to get your opinion on this because the book Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, a lot of people would consider that science fiction and some consider it horror. What would you consider it?
I never actually read the book. I'm really, really bad. And I feel so ignorant right now.
Oh, don't. That's the thing is I don't want people to feel bad because they haven't seen certain movies but if we can just get to share it with each other with what we have and to draw each other more closer together. That's what the whole purpose is.
See, that's the thing. If I see a movie first and then there's a book, I won't read the book because it'll somehow be different than the movie. And I don't want to take away from the movie. I'm really weird. Which is why I never read the book, Willy Wonka, because I know it's very different from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and I don't want to burst my bubble. I don't want Oompa Loompas to be different. And then there's no fizzy lifting drink in the book. I'm like, no, not for me.
I don't know, man. I don't think I could handle a fizzy lifting drink right now. I think I would honestly, I would rather just drink some of it and just float to the room where I can just hover above the chocolate river and just scoop up chocolate.
Yeah, the chocolate room. I'm not a soda drinker, so that part never. But it was scary when I got up to the fan, and I was like, "Oh my god, what's gonna happen?" and then when they started burping, I'm like, "That's gross." But it all adds to the charm of the movie.
All right, if you could have any room out of Willy Wonka's factory installed into your house, which would it be?
The chocolate room. But I mean, are we talking reality here? Because most of that stuff wasn't edible. Very few things in that room were actually edible.
Well, we'll imply the fact that we can have it be edible in real life.
The chocolate room. I just want to oh my gosh, the chocolate river. I have dreams about that. And just being able to reach up into the trees and grab candy. Oh my gosh.
See, for me, I don't know, because if I had the chocolate river, I'd always have to keep the door locked because I have a puppy and I don't want the puppy to go in there because chocolate is so bad for them. I would personally say if I could have any room, it would have to be the room with the wallpaper that tastes like anything. Because whenever I get the wallpaper that had
you can lick the It's lickable.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
get into these weird
The
kids that, like,
snozberries tastes like snozberries.
what the? I know it's like because if you ever have you ever had that, like, I want something but I don't have it at my house, but you just want the taste of it. So it'd be
But
like,
see, as an adult, I think about that and I'm like, wait a minute. Who had licked that one fruit before you, though? Oh, no.
I know the logic as an adult ruins a lot of our childlike
Yeah. So I'm
wonder.
like, no. And plus, I'm not like, I don't like fruit stuff. I'm more of a sweet person. So, yeah, I wouldn't. I agree the room is fascinating, but yeah, just the unsanitariness of like everyone licking the same thing. Ugh.
Well, I don't think everyone would be looking at it because it'd be my private room, so I'd like it.
That's true.
I mean, I can imagine you just in the chocolate river room, just hanging in there. I can imagine your husband's like, honey, dinner's ready. You just, I like a big inflatable, like, I
I'd be
don't
like,
know,
no
it's like,
thanks. I just drank half the river.
but then how would you refill it? That's the real question.
Well, the same thing like with the wallpaper. After you lick it so many times, doesn't it kind of wear off? How would you
That's true.
reflavor it?
Uh,
You need Oompa
the
Loompas.
Now I have a
Oompa
question.
Loompa Loopity.
Now, how did you feel about Hugh Grant's portrayal as the Oompa Loompa?
I hated it. I thought he's too stuffy. He's too stiff. Like Oompa Loompas were the little guys, but they had like character. I don't know. But Hugh Grant didn't have any character. He was just very stiff and matter of fact. Like, that's not an Oompa Loompa. Come on.
I mean, I kind of thought, because seeing it, and I'm like, oh my god, he's being totally outside of that character that I've seen him as.
Yeah.
I've seen him in a lot of movies, but that whole, I will have you know, they call me Lofty.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. He wasn't an Oompa Loompa. I didn't like that at all.
Now, what about the controversy with the Tim Burton Oompa Loompa? Or lack thereof, but one.
That's another thing that bothered me. That it's supposed to be a whole bunch of Oompa Loompas. I mean, it was very different, obviously, but I try to say, well, it was before the chocolate factory, so I try to kind of make up for it in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in my imagination, I'll say, well, Hugh Grant went and got his relatives, and more Oompa Loompas came. I'll try to restart the story or reset the story in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you can't just have one Oompa Loompa.
But for me, I love the Oompa Loompas from the original because, yes, they all look the same, but you can see the details of each character was different. Some of them might
Yeah.
have been taller, some of them might have been more stockier, but they each had that that charm of being their own individual character.
And they sang.
And
I love that they sang.
and
If
I
you
love
want
the fact,
to listen to me.
I love how even that became pop culture with Futurama, with when they had the Slurm Factory tour, and they had their version of Oompa Loompas they called Chumbawambas, and they even did their own version of the Oompa Loompa song. Uh, how do you feel about pop culture references of Willy Wonka? Like, do you feel like they kind of insult it, or they do it justice?
I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I mean, I've heard so many different things about Willy Wonka, and so there's like no. I don't
Let me
know.
see if
I really have to think about that to get an
let me see
opinion.
if let me see if I can pull some Willy Wonka clips. Because I know Family Guy has done a lot of them, and there have been some funny ones. I know they did a whole episode based on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where they were trying to find the silver scrolls to get
I
into
do
Paul
like it
Puckett's pets.
when other like cartoons and stuff make fun of them. That I think is hysterical.
Uh, let me see. Okay. I found some. Let me pull this up real quick. Have you watched Family Guy? And you have the cutaways they do in there.
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I love Family Guy. I just haven't watched that much of it.
Okay, this is one of the older cutaways they did, and it's a great one because it's a Willy Wonka reference that I think you would enjoy. So let me pull this up here and make it full screen. No, I do not want that. I don't want to fight at the liquor store. I don't want that. Hold on. NCR does tech.
Technical difficulty.
I do not do tech well. I don't tech well. That's why I hired a producer, but it was the wrong choice because it was a rogue Florida man named Dwayne. It was a delightful guy. I can't get rid of him. He has amazing stories. Like the time he met Ric Flair back in '86. And how he's neighbors with Dracula. I don't know how that one worked out, but we're good friends.
He lies to Willy Wonka.
This is actually pretty funny.
And it's just fine without TV. Huh. And what's that supposed to mean?
Face it, Peter, you're addicted to television. And you're not exactly Mr. Cold Turkey either. Remember that time you tried to give up candy?
I'll ask you one more time. Are you sure you didn't eat anything in my factory?
No.
That's
You
cute.
call me a liar?
No, I'm just saying.
Hey, shut up, Wonka.
I mean, stuff like
Violet,
that.
you're turning violet.
Like I know it's an out there kind of a thing for Willy Wonka fans, but they've done like there's just so much from pop culture of them doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. That is funny.
Listen, I'm not saying you're a liar, but clearly, Peter.
But I love his soup because I didn't expect him to be a blueberry.
Okay, let me try to pull this one up from Futurama with the Chumbawambas. Because I think you would actually like this. It's that same kind of humor, but it's more straight deadpan of a ripoff of Willy Wonka. I'm sorry to say, but we have this.
Dunk-a-dunk-a-dee-doo. We've got a friendly warning for you. Basis, the secret of slurs on a need-to-know basis.
Asking questions in school is a great way to learn.
Try that stuff here, you might get your legs broke.
We once found a dead guy face down in the slum.
It could easily happen again to you folks. So keep your head down and keep your mouth shut.
Hey, I don't pay you to sing. You just used up today's bathroom break.
Hard ass.
I heard.
That's funny. Yeah, I love stuff like that. That was really funny.
Paw, tuck it, pack.
I mean, I like how it became just this pop culture reference that, you know, something like Willy Wonka, you could take just something small and just turn it into something even funnier.
Yeah, that's hysterical.
Like, is there any any scenes that if you could do it for a frauditor, what would you do? like take any scene from Willy Wonka or a punishment and use it on the Frauditors.
Well, like the the Mike TV went into the room and he was teleported. I would teleport them to another planet.
I would actually put them on the scales with the golden
Yes,
with
that's right.
the golden eggs.
They're a bad egg. Boom.
I mean,
That's a good one.
we could put Glenn Cereal on there and he'd end up in the incinerator. But I think OSHA and the EPA would come after us hard on that one. Well, Maggie, is there any other movies that you would like to talk about? Because that's the beauty of the show. I want to get to know you more as well.
You know, I don't watch that many movies recently because I work a full-time job. I do these videos and I've got other stuff going on. So I can't say I've watched many movies recently.
Well, even it doesn't have to be one that you've watched recently. It's something you get to enjoy, or a movie you think that we would enjoy, something that you could reference for us.
Well, like
what would you recommend?
every Christmas, my husband and I watch. See, I'm forgetting names. It's not the Christmas Story. Maybe it is. It
With
wasn't the
Ralphie?
Scrooge. It wasn't the Scrooge with what's his name?
Bill Murray.
Yeah, Bill Murray. It was like the original one. He's like, I like
Christmas Carol.
Life likes Christmas Carol. Thank you. We watch that every Christmas. I love that. That's a musical, so I love that. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me.
Now, is there any movies that you would absolutely recommend that everyone needs to see? Like, what is that one movie you would have to say everyone needs to watch at least once?
Good question. My first thought would be Willy Wonka, but I think everyone has seen it. But that would be the one movie that everyone needs to see pronto, because that's just the best movie ever.
Now, what? Because you brought up musicals. What about musicals do you truly enjoy? Is it the music or is it the pageantry of them?
It's the music, it's the dancing, it's just the energy you get from them, and it's like the happiness.
Now,
I love movies that give off a positive energy that I can take with me after the movie. I think that's the biggest thing. Like in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, afterwards, they break through the glass ceiling, and then Charlie gets to move into the factory, and everyone is like, don't forget what happened to the man who got everything he ever wanted. He lived there happily ever after. You know, and it gives off this positive energy that I love.
okay.
Grease was another great movie. I loved Grease.
If you could have dinner with 3 characters from 3 different movies that you love, who would they be?
Steve Martin, because I love his movies. He's hysterical. I bring back Gene Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to meet Gene Wilder. And I'm trying to think of the third one. John Candy. I loved his movies.
Oh, I love John Candy.
Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. He was great.
I
Uncle
love
Buck.
I love Uncle Buck. That is a great movie.
It was a fantastic movie.
Me and my brother will quote different movie lines to each other, and we will always quote Uncle Buck.
Yeah,
and
John Candy was awesome.
My favorite line is the teacher asking the little girl what they did this weekend, and she just raises her hand. My uncle microwaved my socks and made us a big pancake. Why did he microwave your socks? Because he couldn't get the goddamn washing machine dryer to work. Blasphemy!
Yeah.
I,
Like he's telling the teacher, get some animals to gnaw that thing off your face. It's like, it's so cruel, but it's so funny.
Stripes. Oh my god, I love Stripes.
That was a good movie. I haven't seen it in a long time. That was a good movie though.
I love the ending with the different like magazines and newspapers, and then a thing of John Candy's character Ox win a date with America's new livable sweetheart Ox.
Yeah, I miss John Candy. I loved all his movies.
He was just a phenomenal actor and one of those true sweethearts of a person. But I love the fact you brought Steve Martin and him in Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, because to me that was the prototype for the modern Laurel and Hardy we have, which was Chris Farley and David Spade. And I love Chris Farley movies. I loved him in Tommy Boy and Black Sheep and Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yeah, and it's sad that all these great comedians are gone.
I know, and we will never get them back because I think John Candy alone was just one of those guys that like I want to hear his stories. Like I don't care what we're doing.
Yeah.
Just I want to hear his stories. Like what did he's probably got some crazy adventure, he can tell you.
And like Phil Hartman, he was awesome too. He was on the news comedy show that was so
News
funny.
Radio.
Got me cracking up. News Radio, yes.
I loved him on SNL. He played
it's another one that's sad that's gone.
I loved him on SNL when he was doing his Bill Clinton impression.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're at the McDonald's, like, the Secret Service, like, Mr. President, I don't think the First Lady would like us being here. He's like, listen, fellas, there's going to be a lot of things the First Lady ain't going to know about. And he's going in, he's like, eating people's food, and he's doing, and you see, now you have the UN here, and we're doing this. But then, what do you get when you don't have them? Takes the guys for trust, warlords. And he stole people's food, just going warlords. Phil Hartman, again, one of those great comedic actors. I just wish we could have more people with that same energy, because it was just so contagious watching him on stage and watching him on news radio. We got Animal House. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I actually haven't.
It's a great film by National Lampoons. It's
one of those movies that I've always meant to see and never got around to seeing.
It was one of the first real like parody college movies, and it stars John Belushi. And in that movie, there's this great thing at the end of these people like getting like these little tied up beats for the movies. And it says, because he was like this wild party guy, that he eventually ended up running for office and becoming the senator of a state. So it was like, I wonder who would run against Chili? If he ran against Chili, ran against John Belushi's character from Animal House, would he stand a snowball's chance? And a personal favorite of mine right here, Blues Brothers. I love the Blues Brothers. It was just great music. And you had a great duo of Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
I know Hez will probably make you watch it because it's a straight up Chicago, Illinois movie. Especially you've got Jake and Elwood Blues. Elwood picks up his brother who just got out of prison in an old cop car. It's like, my first day out the pen and you pick me up in a cop car? Really? He's like, what happened to the Bluesmobile? I traded it for a microphone. I did the same thing. You traded a car for a microphone. Why? What about some of the Mel Brooks films we got brought up here? Spaceballs and Young Frankenstein.
I've seen them. They're really funny. I love Mel Brooks. He's awesome. That's one of the reasons I started watching Tones Over Things. Excuse me, because he used all those movie cutaways. I love them.
And that's the thing. I think Tones is he's just perfect with the Mel Brooks clips. And one of my personal favorites is Robin Hood Men in Tights. I just love that scene of Dave Chappelle as a Chew, and he's like, "Hold on, I'm out of air," and he's pumping up his sneakers. I think that, like, the little things, like the little jokes, like that, make a movie.
Yeah, like Spaceballs, Rick Moranis. Yeah, those are classics.
Fooled you. I love that. Your Schwartz might be bigger, but mine is still stronger.
And Silver Streak was a great movie, but I'm such a horrible little kid. It's like I remember watching it and I was scared because I didn't expect the person to just that fell off the train that got killed, and that scared me. And then I was afraid of the movie. It's so sad. I mean, I watched it a few times, but I've always kind of covered my eyes during that scene when the guy falls off the train.
How do you feel about animal movies, like kids' animal movies? Like, do you have any thoughts on those?
I'm trying to think. See, I can't remember the name now. It was with the Mark Wahlberg and his teddy bear.
Ted.
Ted, yeah. I thought that movie was hysterical. I mean, that wasn't really an animal, it was a teddy bear, but it was so weird and warped, but funny.
I think that's also, that we talked about this last week, not last week, but the week before, with Frauditor Comedy Show. But there was because Ted's a teddy bear, and we talked about a kids movie called Small Soldiers, where it was that fantasy of every kid's, but turned almost to a nightmare. How we always wanted our toys to play with us and talk, but it was out there. But as a kid, one of the movies I watched the most, all the time, was a movie called Dunstan Checks In, about an orangutan in a hotel. And there's this great scene of they get Paul Rubens, who plays a hunter, like an animal control guy, to come catch Dunstan, this orangutan. And he has a book of mug shots of different orangutans and chimps and gorillas. Just
see, me personally, I don't really like movies that there's animals in because I'm always afraid they're mistreated. Like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase. I heard, I don't remember where, but there's a scene where the cat gets electrocuted from eating the wires on the Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard or read somewhere that it really happened. So I don't like animals in movies because I'm always afraid they're mistreated.
I know, and that's a sad thing. And I don't like to see animals being mistreated, especially in movies, because especially as a kid, because they aim a lot of animal movies towards them. And I don't.
And I'm watching those videos, I always think, well, how do they train that animal to do that? and my mind wanders into bad things. So yeah, I'm not into animal movies.
Well, I have a little anecdote for you that might make you get some feels of like, ha, that's what they get. Uh, do you know what a wrestling bear is?
No.
It's a bear that would people would kind of wrestle with, and it just kind of it's a bear that they raise from a cub, and they teach it like how to basically just play around with people.
Hmm.
Well, one of the older wrestlers from back in the day, one of the legends, he had to wrestle a bear, and all these guys were messing with the bear, and it was getting mad. He's like, "Hey, stop messing with it! I've got to wrestle this thing." So when he found out they brought the bear, he would go and get it candy bars and Dr. Peppers, and he would give it to this bear. So the bear would see him in the ring and would just want to go up and hug on him and just roar, dance around. But when the other guys who were teasing the bear was just throwing him out the ring. So it's a little funny thing about, give a bear Dr. Pepper and a chocolate bar, he'll be your best friend.
I just think, especially with animation and stuff, the using of like real animals, I don't like it. I'm a big animal lover, and I know there's always like this little caption: "No animals were harmed during the making of this film," but that's always in the back of my head.
Now, how do you feel about animated movies getting like CGI upgrades, like turned into CGIs, like the recent Lion King? How do you feel about that?
What do you mean, like upgrades?
Like they redo the entire movie, but instead of it being traditional animation, they do it almost like computer CGI.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean,
because I know a lot of people say that it ruins their childhood or
yeah.
takes away from it. But
if they did something like that with Willy Wonka and they changed it, I'd be against it. But things like The Lion King, like I have no hold on.
Like I don't really see a difference in it. I don't see it being a problem. But I know a lot of people say, "Oh well, it ruins the magic of the original."
Yeah, but anything that you remake is always going to ruin the magic of the original. I mean, can't help that. I don't have a problem with, movies being remade if it's done in a, I don't know, entertaining way. But I always think, oh, they're hurting for money to remaking a movie. Sometimes, it's like, depends on the movie, I guess.
I think it's that nostalgia. Like we don't want, as adults, we don't want the movies we grew up with, the shows we grew up with being made, because we love them how they were.
We don't want them to change. Just like with the Ron Dahl book, I won't read it because it changes the movie I saw, although the book came first.
I think that's more of, it's taking away the rose-tinted glasses, because I know Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was really more they did a lot. They kept it as faithful as they could to the actual book, which I like that. That's how they should do book adaptations. I know of some that you can take some liberties, but don't take the liberties to the point of extreme where it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
How do you feel about stop motion animation?
I like all kinds of animation. I think they're just fun to watch.
Like
isn't that like what Nightmare?
The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes, I don't know why I keep forgetting the name.
That was stop motion.
I think they used, stop motion. I think it's fun to watch. Yeah, see, that wasn't animation; it was stop motion.
Now, is there is there anything that like a particular genre that you just like? No, I can't watch it. I can't do it.
Hezekiah is not going to like this, and you probably won't either. But horror movies, I can't watch horror movies. I don't like the gore. I don't see a purpose in it. It's just, again, I like things with happy endings. I like some things, movies ending with a positive vibe to it. But when someone gets the whole head ripped apart, it's the opposite. No.
I can understand that it's not everybody's cup of tea. I mean, I'll be honest. Horror movies for me originally were not my best thing. I did not like them, especially as a kid. But it's just something I fell into. But
I've never understood the point of it. Like, some movies are just, again, I won't see them, but I hear they're just gore, and it's just like a movie based on blood and guts. There's no real plot to it. There's no real story. It's just horror. I'm like, what's the point of that? Like, who really wants to see that? I mean, I guess it's fantasy, but
no, I agree with you. I tend to stay with more because there are some horror films that do have really good stories, and I'm not gonna lie, the visual effects are out there. But when it's just straight, like you said, gory, nonstop movies, I don't really care for those type. I need to be entertained. I need a story with it. Why am
story.
I invested?
There was this one movie that I watched. Again, can't remember the name, but it was a security guard or someone in a parking garage, and he was watching movies about people, like the centipede, like people getting sewn together.
Human Centipede 2, the second segment.
Something like that, yeah. And I watched that movie, I forgot why, and it was just so gross, but at the end, it was all a fantasy. You found out that that was in his head. It never really happened. So I could walk away from that movie going, okay, because it never happened, and I can just disregard it. But most horror movies really supposedly happen, and you walk away with that negative energy that I don't like taking with me.
And I think that's hard for people to get, the escape from reality that we want with movies, I mean, there's the term popcorn movie. I don't know if you ever heard it.
Sounds sort of familiar.
A popcorn movie is just a movie that you can watch for 90 minutes and just escape from your day. It doesn't have to be, an Oscar-winning movie. It doesn't have to be loved by critics. It's 90 minutes of me escaping from reality.
See, and that's the problem. I can't just do that so easily. When I watch a movie, it sticks with me for a little while. Like, the energy from that movie will stay with me for a little while. I've never been able to just watch a movie and just like, okay, it's done, and not think about it at all. There'll be some kind of energy that comes after the movie. And that's why I won't watch horror movies. And I'm really weird.
I have a question from NCTP I have to answer real quick. No, I haven't seen Bubba Hotep, but it's on my list of movies to watch. Actually, I have a list in front of me of I've been writing these down. I've got, Batter's Not Included on there, Bubba Hotep. I definitely got Chitty Chitty Bang Bang on there. But for me, I enjoy horror movies, and I know a lot of people don't because, like you said, the gore, but there are some out there for me that just have really good stories, and I tend to go towards B movies a lot because I just love to laugh at how bad they are.
I can understand that.
I kind of do the whole Mystery Science Theater thing with some of them. Like, if I play them in my Discord, we'll laugh at them and we'll make fun of them. We'll rip them just to have fun because I think that helps take away from some of the scary aspects. If we can just laugh at the ridiculousness of it. But I don't really know what else we can talk about because I mean I've ran out of questions.
See, like movies like The Evil Dead, and I think that's with the zombies. My sister used to watch things like that with the zombies and eating people. I will never watch them. I just saw no purpose to it.
Now,
Maybe it's because I also put myself in that position. Like, what if I'm so weird. What if I was that person that was having to hide from the zombie? Like, I don't know. And yeah, it's just the vibe I get from it. I just don't want to put myself in that position.
oh
I
no,
don't
no, I
I
totally
don't
get
enjoy
it.
seeing other people suffer. I'm very, very strange. It's like I even like certain horror movies that were good, but there was no like gore. But still they were scared, they were hurt. Like I just don't want to watch that.
I agree with you. I think because I'm the same way. I watched, when I got into The Walking Dead, I got into it. I I started doing this weird things. Like whenever I'd go to somebody's house, I'd start like, okay, if the walkers
People
start
think it's a
taking over,
comedy.
there's a lot of slapstick comedy in there
But that's the
because
zombie movie, right?
no, the Evil Dead is about the Sumerian Book of the Dead, and if you read it, it opens up this dimension to bring in these demon-like creatures.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm totally off base.
But the Evil Dead, it does have aspects of zombies, and it is one of those slapstick, gory comedies, kind of like more of like a splatter comedy because of the way it is.
Hmm.
But you got Bruce Campbell in there, and he is just doing all kinds of comedic, like slapstick comedy stuff. Like he gets into it with his like own severed hand that got possessed. So he's like,
That
he's
sounds
like,
familiar. I might have seen that movie.
like he's trying to catch it, and it starts throwing plates at him.
Yeah, that sounds
Uh,
really familiar. I might have seen it. Hi, Anne. Good to see you.
Hello. Uh, what is the most important thing to you about a good movie? What makes a good movie to you?
I guess the story. Um, the story has to be good, even if it's a musical and it's fun. If there's no real story, it's not something that I'll ever want to see again. But if there's a real like, story that appeals to me, and even if it's not a musical, if like Color Purple, if it's just a story that appeals to me, makes me cry, makes me feel emotional, then that's important to me.
What do you feel makes a bad movie? Like what for you personally says, no, this is just a bad movie?
Um, Probably bad acting, where you can't get into any part of the movie because the acting is so bad that you just
Mhm.
like you can't take it seriously. You can't get into the characters. You can't get into the storyline because it's so obviously fake. I think that drives me
Right.
nuts.
If you could direct any movie, what would you direct?
Wow, that's a great question. I don't even know. I don't even know. That's a great question. What about you?
Oh, that is a tough one for me as well because there's so many out there. I I would have to say if I could direct any movie, I would direct a horror film, but there's so many out there. I don't know which one I would direct. I'd have to say A Nightmare on Elm Street personally because it's my favorite.
That was a good movie. I don't remember there being a lot of gore in that movie, but it was interesting for the fact that people would die in their sleep. Like it was just like the story that would keep me up at night. Like just the thought that you can go to sleep and die. That was new for me.
Well, the thing is, Wes Craven based that on an actual thing.
I did not know that.
That was it was semi based on something.
I mean, I know people die in their sleep, but not like Freddy Krueger coming after them.
Well, there was a series of stories in the L.A. Times about refugees from Cambodia. That were having these nightmares, and they didn't want to go to sleep because they felt like they were telling their people, like, no, if I fall asleep, I'm going to die. And they don't know what caused it. They just called it sudden death syndrome. Hold on here. Man, Rambo versus Predator. I would have to watch that because now you got my curiosity. I'm gonna have to track that down. If you could live in one movie, what would it be?
You already know the answer to that one. I'd be in my chocolate room. I'd be swimming and drinking from the river, and I would never leave.
All right.
Because that to me is like a perfect world where nothing bad happens. You could be totally ignorant about everything. It's this big, huge room with no outside, nothing to point to the outside, but it's all the things like from a little kid, the candy and that happiness, and you could just stay there and be ignorant and blissfully ignorant for your entire life and never have to even see the outside world.
I like that. That's a really good answer.
And the chocolate river, gosh.
Yeah, but then you gotta worry about diabetes at that point. Is there going to be an insulin room for me? Because I would need that.
Well, just, in moderation. You just have to take things in moderation, just like in, real life.
I'm sorry, but when you've got gummy bears the size of my torso, I'm gonna be in a diabetic coma. We've been going for almost 2 hours. Let's start. I'm just gonna start winding it down. Is there anything you would like to plug? Anything you would like to promote right now? Please feel free to.
No.
Yeah, no upcoming shows or live streams you would like to promote, or your channel?
Oh, Blackheart Knight and I are doing a live stream tomorrow night to go over the illegal copyright takedown of our videos by this Nobody Poor Audits. And I think that's 6:30. I have to check 6:30 Central Standard Time.
Is that going to be on your channel or his?
Yeah, my channel.
If one of my mods could please drop Frauditor News Network's channel into the chat, I would greatly appreciate that.
He had his channel actually. Blackheart Knight was kind of like on pause for a while because it wasn't just one video; it was a bunch of shorts as well that they did a false copyright strike on. So that kind of put his channel in limbo for I think a week or two, and that's messed up. I just lost that one video, and I didn't really care. But yeah, they really messed with his channel.
Oh, I know, and I know as a content creator, that's something that sets us back because we take pride in what we do and we put a lot of effort into it. And when somebody does some false strikes or false claims, it really hurts all of us.
Yeah, I mean, plus like they were copyright striking his shorts. He had maybe 5 seconds of their video in his short, and they lied and said like the whole thing was copied. It's just really sad. What was wrong with people?
Oh, I understand because I dealt with a similar situation with auditing Reno 911. He had hit me with a false copyright strike last year. No, not last year. The year before. And he only claimed 30 seconds of my video. But here's the ironic thing. The 30 seconds he claimed was him being told he would be arrested and trespassed from a prison That's what he claimed. He's like, no, take that out. Don't let that part stay in there. But everything else, leave it. I would think he would go
Yeah, I
after
mean,
me
it's
after
amazing.
2 months.
These frauditors that keep clamoring about transparency hates themselves being transparent. And anytime they see anything that doesn't agree with what they feel is correct, then just strike it, get rid of it. Pretend it never happened.
I hate when they do that to channels, especially smaller channels, because it's hard enough to get yourself out there and get people to see what we're talking about and what we're putting out. But Blackheart Knight, I mean, he's a great guy. He's a nice guy, and he doesn't deserve that, and neither do you. Because again, you both put out great videos and great content, and well, I hate to see people do that kind of stuff because it just shows they're not really about the First Amendment. They're not about transparency. It's all about making themselves look good.
Of course, yeah. And the fact that they struck his shorts and the fact that they paused his whole channel just really messed up. I only had one video from them, so they could only strike one of mine, so it didn't really affect me. But yeah, they really screwed up with Blackheart Knight, and that's messed up.
And I stand with you guys. You guys have the full backing of both me and my movie channel and my Rumble. Whatever I can do to help you guys out, let me know, and I'll do my best to get the word out that you guys are dealing with well, there's only one way to describe it. Hold on one second.
Shenanigans.
No.
Shenanigans.
No.
I love that.
But I think that's a good way to end on this with a nice laugh.
Yes,
Again,
I agree.
Maggie, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're always welcome back here. And guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe to Frauditor News Network. And don't forget to watch her stream tomorrow with Blackheart Knight at 6:30. Is it Eastern or Standard Time? Or Central Time? I mean.
Central Time. Wait, I'm in Wisconsin, so yeah, Central.
Central
I had to think
Time.
about that for a second. Yeah.
With all that being said, everybody, I want to wish you all a happy and safe remainder of your Sunday. Be well, be safe, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.